Okay, so we've got a couple tables with some of the projects I've designed for the Vectric company and the Cartwright company, and all of these were designed with the help of the Vectric software. Some of them were designed with VCarve Pro, and some were designed with the Aspire software, their top-of-the-line software. These are some projects that I designed for the Cartwright company, these tables here. And the Vectric software makes it really easy to come up with these textures, semi-realistic bark texture. This is not bark, this is just plain wood carved and designed using the Vectric software. It's kind of odd that I got into this type of business at all, because my real profession was music technology. I began back in the early 80s running music software and traveling around giving music technology conferences all over the western United States in conjunction with the Roland Corporation in Kurzweil. And so I've been a musician all my life. My wife's a musician as well. And so I have always enjoyed working with computers, but at that time it was music, so that was back in 1987. I started my own business, and it was a mail order music technology software business. And then it was about 10 years ago I decided that I wanted to get into something more crafty, and I decided I would get into laser engraving. So I looked into some of the laser engravers available, and it evolved into getting away from the laser and getting into more of the woodworking side, because I've been using tools to do woodworking projects for ever since I was a teenager. And I learned about CNC machines, and I decided to get into the CNC world. And so my first CNC was a Cartwright machine, and then I discovered the Vectric software, and through an arrangement with Vectric and ShopBot, began starting to design the projects of the month for the Vectric company. So all of the Vectric projects are cut on a ShopBot machine. The ShopBot PRS Alpha BT48 Buddy does a beautiful job, as you can see. I suppose my favorite projects are the ones that use different techniques of finishing that are not all that common, like the marbleizing projects. This is the jade box I did for Vectric. And then it's sort of a simulated ebony. And it's just a lot of fun to do this type of finishing technique. You spray some spray paint on water and dip the pieces in, and it comes out marbleized, instant marbleization. And that's a dipped marbleizing finish. Make wood look like stone. You know, even something as simple as this, having a texture of tree bark or an arbor glyph. And of course I love steampunk. I would probably do all steampunk if it were up to me. These are actually 3D scans of hand-carved items from the Victorian era, and they were actually 3-inch round full 3D heads that were hand-carved. I scanned them, squished them down, took them into Aspire, sliced them, so they could be used as onlays on these drawers. So I call this the Curious and Wonderful Tower of Faces. My wife doesn't like it, but I do. So I was asked to pick a project out and sort of go over it and pick it apart. This, I had to pick the very first Vectric project that I've ever made for Vectric. And it was kind of interesting because it was January, and my first project was scheduled to be released for Vectric in February. And of course I couldn't help it but to think about Valentine's Day. And I was I was trying to decide what project could I come up with for a Valentine's Day theme, and of course there's hearts and all that and boxes and whatnot. And it was one morning I was drinking my coffee on the back porch, and suddenly a picture appeared in my mind just out of nowhere of this, a caged heart. And I called this project, the name came to me at the same time, You've Captured My Heart. So I ran inside and I grabbed a piece of paper and I sketched it all out, and I went in and designed it the rest of that morning, that afternoon, and by that evening I was cutting it out on the ShopBot machine. And it's been a very popular project, and my understanding is it rescued a lot of fellas from having to come up with some idea of what to give their wives for Valentine's Day, including one of the owners of Vectric. I believe he jumped on this and he created one for his wife to give to her for Valentine's Day. So I feel good about that. But this has got to be really one of my favorite projects because it came to me in just a flash. I can't explain it. It's been a very popular project and kind of an interesting theme. You've captured my heart. So this project, I did use Aspire to design it. It does consist of the V carving on this sort of decorative base that we have here, and I put the lettering around here. And of course, the Vectric software makes it very easy to have your lettering recessed on a curved or angled surface, and to track that all the way around and space it properly on that base. The models for the top and the base of the heart cage were done with the two-rail sweep functions in the software, and then each part was laid out on a single board and precision drilled. It's very easy to do an array of circles for your drills precisely, so you've got the bottom and the top here using the tools in Aspire. The heart model was also created with the Aspire modeling tools. This was not a two-rail sweep, but it was one of the what I call a puffing function in the software, to where you can create the heart shape. And this is actually two pieces of the heart. It was divided in half and then glued together. Again, the layout and the design of these components is very easy to do in the Vectric software. And of course, they have excellent tutorials on the website that help you now. At that time, there were some tutorials available, but not nearly as many as available now. So it's a lot easier for someone coming into the Vectric software these days, and to be able to learn step by step how to operate the software to create something like this of your own. So you can be entirely original. But these projects, there's a new one every month, and they're completely free for download for Vectric software owners. And so you can learn an awful lot of the techniques, and I try to incorporate one or two or three of the Vectric software features in each project, and make mention of those on the first page of the instructions of what was used to create a certain project. So that's really helpful, I think, to a lot of new users as well as experienced users, to alert them to some of these features they may have not used before.